Hello to everybody watching this video. This video I'm making for those people who've applied to Oxford or Cambridge and haven't got a place this year. Cambridge interview results haven't yet come out, but some of you may have found out that you've been rejected already, and for Oxford the results have come out. And I know quite a few people haven't been successful this year, and so I'm making this video to give you some hope. I'm Sen, I'm a fourth year medical student here at Cambridge, and in today's video I'm going to give you a few reasons about why you should not beat yourself up about your Oxford or Cambridge rejection. Right now you're probably feeling a bit down, you might feel like you've missed the boat to get into these universities, and this video is for those people who had really high hopes about all the effort they put in and still didn't make it. I know you put in a lot of hard work, extra hours of work and determination to even apply to these universities, and it's really important to remember that you haven't missed the boat. This isn't the last opportunity for you to go to these fantastic universities, and possibly it might be for the best because it's a wonderful learning lesson. So let me give you a bit of motivation to not give up, keep soldiering on, and to make the most of the remaining time you have at school. So before I say anything else, I would like to say well done to all of you who've made it even this far, whether you've succeeded or failed when it comes to applying to Oxford or Cambridge for whatever subject. It's super duper hard. Unlike other universities, you've got interviews. Unlike other universities, Oxford and Cambridge expect you to show a level of passion, a level of interest that is second to none to other universities in the country. And on top of that, you've got the pressure of applying to some of the most highly ranked universities in the world. Well done, firstly, for getting through all of this. It's been a hard journey for all of you, and the effort you've put in is something to be proud of. You've done something that many people do not even think about doing because it just seems too hard to them. But you've taken the jump and you've tried your best. So make sure to give yourself a pat on the back. Getting on to our second point, the fact that you weren't successful with your application is something that I personally think you should learn about. As someone who's interested in medtech, venture capital, and medical innovation, I've applied to numerous different positions where even I, who did very well at school and has tried during university, sometimes struggle a lot. I get rejections, and a lot of times you've got to learn from these rejections. You've got to work out why something didn't work as well as you wanted it to. And when you do that, when you reflect, when you make mistakes and learn from them, that's when you're going to improve, you're going to become a better person, and ultimately, when you apply the next time, you'll get in. So what's really important to think about is that clearly something in your application process, either you didn't have what they were looking for, or what you presented to them wasn't what they were looking for. Now I know that Oxford and Cambridge look for students who fit in well with their teaching system. They have this brilliant system called the tutorial or supervision system, which involves small group teaching, which requires interaction, which requires a level of engagement from all the students. And a lot of the times when the students aren't as talkative, aren't as good at explaining their thinking, Oxford and Cambridge, they might say, well, this student might not thrive in the environment that we'll put them in, and consequently they'll think you'll do better in a different environment. And I'm sure if you think back deep enough, you might even discover a few shortfalls in your application, which at the time you weren't happy about, but you hoped to have made up for. But clearly this may have been a contributing factor to you not getting in. Now this isn't something you should get frustrated about, but this is something, like I said earlier, you must learn. And when it comes to applying for things in the future, having learned from this, you will then know that every single detail counts when it applies to applying to very competitive posts, whether it's in the banking world or even in the medical world, in the scientific or the legal world. Now moving on, very importantly, is the fact that you must remember not getting into undergraduate studies at Oxford or Cambridge is not the last straw when it comes to studying here. A lot of the students I meet nowadays are master's students, are PhD students, and the majority of them come from different universities, whether in the UK or from different parts of the world. And numerous people I meet say, oh yes, Sen, I applied to Cambridge when I was an undergraduate, didn't get in unfortunately, but I went to this other university instead and worked really hard, got a high 2-1, got a first, because I actually realised I really liked the subject. Then I applied for a postgraduate degree at Cambridge and I got in. And you've got so many students who, don't even go to the best universities for their undergraduate studies, but still do well and come here to do a master's, and most of them end up doing PhDs here as well. Now, even if you don't do degrees here afterwards, for example, if you're a student who wants to study medicine, once you finish a medical degree, you can even come to Cambridge or Oxford to do your foundation posts. You can even do your surgical training or your core medical training here. So it's really important to keep in mind that just because you didn't get into undergraduate studies doesn't mean you aren't good enough for Oxford or Cambridge. The universities probably just thought, right now, right here, given how you presented yourself in the interview and given the rest of the application, now wasn't the time for you. And just to back things up even more, some of the best professors and teachers I've met here at Oxford and Cambridge are people who didn't even study here. They've studied all around the world, have excelled in their field, and then they end up here at Oxford or Cambridge, and they teach us. Now, of course, that doesn't mean Cambridge or Oxford undergraduates aren't any less worthy of those positions. They just go on to do their own things. And to be fair, a lot of the academics of the university are students who've practically worked through from undergraduate to master's to PhD and eventually have stayed in academic posts ever since they came to universities. Just because undergraduate studies didn't work out for you doesn't mean it's the end of the road. Work hard wherever you go, and Oxford and Cambridge are always happy to have you apply for postgraduate degrees and postgraduate courses and certificates. The last thing I want to say to you all is not getting in for your undergraduate studies should not define who you are. The fact that you failed here, the fact that you weren't able to gain an offer, should not define that you're a failure, should not define your abilities. You are probably far more capable than you may have presented yourself. A lot of what I say on this channel is it's really important in life to present yourself in the best light. And sometimes a few of us are better at doing that than others. Some of the cleverest people I know are really bad at presenting themselves in social situations or even being able to converse very fluidly. And that's all just because they haven't spent enough time yet developing their interpersonal and communication skills. So for example, if you didn't get in for natural sciences or for history or for law, that doesn't mean you're not going to be a fantastic solicitor, scientist, researcher, or whatever in the future. It just means that at this point in time when you applied, things weren't in your favour and there had been other applicants who in this competitive field were able to present themselves in better light and thus were able to get the offer. So remember, work hard anywhere and make sure you keep up your high hopes, because you can be fantastic, you can conquer the world. Just make sure next time you work hard and focus on all the details. So I hope this video has given you some motivation. Failure is something that's very difficult to deal with, but the most important thing we can do with failure, as unpleasant as it can be, is learn from it and turn that failure into a positive learning lesson to make us stronger, to make us better, and to make us undefeatable in the long term. Because the more failures you have, the more hardship you go through and learn from, then you simply know that in the future when you come across something else that's not the best of situations, this is just easy peasy, I've been through worse than this, and you'll be able to cope with it much better. And when you cope with things better, the outcomes are often better as well. So stay strong, and I wish you all the best. I'll speak to you guys soon. I've got a pretty cool video coming out tomorrow about 5 tips on how you can study more effectively during the lockdown. Please remember to like, subscribe, and don't feel forced to comment on this video. I know it's a very touchy video, it's a very personal video, so hopefully this discussion has just resonated with you a bit and has given you a bit more confidence and long-term motivation. As always, I'll catch you guys soon in the next video. Cheerio.